So we've got a client card here, a guy called Mr. Bob Martin, and he's got an animal on here called Luna. So if we look on Luna's main details there, she's a border collie, and we can see we've got some insurance details in here. There is an insurance tab for the animal. So if I go onto insurance tab, we can put in whatever information we know here about policy excess, etc., what the policy numbers are. Obviously, if you know the information in advance, great. If you don't, you can add it later. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some work onto Luna's card. So I've gone into the clinical history, and where I've got my work entry buttons down the right hand side, what I've done is I've included on my scripts a little tick box called insurance work. So if you know that the work that you're going to now do is going to be claimed on an insurance claim, a shortcut way of putting that onto the insurance card direct is if you tick the box there, we can put what the condition is, so we can put in there fracture, for example. Okay, we tab down to the pricing box, and then we can put in what we're going to charge. So there's a consultation fee. We'll perhaps do a general anaesthetic. We're going to do some x-rays. So we'll pick out the appropriate anaesthetic fee. We'll do, say, 1 x-ray plate. And we can also add additional things on there, such as future things. We can put a little price for that on there, and we might want to put a buster collar on, for example, as well, so we could put one of those on. So these are the items in here that I'm going to put on the card. I'd obviously add some notes to it ordinarily, but if I put add and exit on there, we can now see that on the client's card we actually have on this animal's card we actually have all the details here of what we just put on. Okay, now because we've selected that insurance tick box, what it's done down here, the client has a mains card which is for the routine things like vaccinations and day-to-day things like food, that type of thing, wormers. But also if we're going to be claiming insurance, then we have an insurance tab that's been set up. So all this work is actually on the insurance tab, and we can do things from here direct with the insurance company. Now we do have a link to Agria. So that will check to see if they want to offer the animal 5 weeks free insurance. You can then also do other things with it, like if they have got an Agria policy, we can actually click on a button within the record and it goes on to Agria's system, and we can actually see the policy details in full. So we've put some work onto this card. Now, if I go back to the animal details tab, there's a number of ways we can manipulate this data. So one thing I'm going to want to do is to add a claim. So what I do here is I select this add new claim button, I give it a description. Okay, I can say the dates and from that we're going to be claiming the treatment for. And what I do now is I select the items using this little button here. So there may be lots of other things shown on here, but I can just tick that box there and it will only show items that have been marked for insurance. All of these items were. So we can go down there and we can select all these. Okay, and when we do OK to that, save that on the card, it's now created the fact that we've got a fracture here. So you can have multiple conditions running and multiple claims ongoing at the same time. Okay, so we look back on the clinical history. What you now notice is that there's a series of blue dots, and if you hover over it, it tells you that that item was included in an insurance claim for a fracture. Okay, so you can identify which items have been subject to an insurance claim already. Now, if it's decided that, oh, actually the insurance company won't pay for this buster collar, all you have to do is if you put the pointer over any line and press the right mouse button, you get a number of options that are relevant to that line. So what I can do here, I can edit it, I can delete it, I can refund it. So if I edit the line, we then get an edit box here. I can change pricing and things on it, but also down the bottom here, you can see I can change from insured work to chargeable work. So when I do that and update it, what it does is it's taken it off the insurance ledger. And if you go onto the default one, what is put back on is put it back onto the main client's card. So the client needs to pay for that separately. Okay. Now, if the client is going to pay some excess, what we do is we go into the financial history, and again, you've got a default ledger and you've got an insurance ledger, so you can flip between the two. But regardless of which one you're in, if you want to take a payment here, okay, you'll see that there's a button in here that says excess payment. So if I click on excess payment, you select the animal, so it's Luna, And what we do is we put the percentage amount in here. Now, if it's already set up in the policy details, then that will bring that across automatically. So I'll put that in there and I do apply. So that's now worked out that 10% of that is £20.41. And we decide how the client's paying that. So we can put on there, they paid it on a card, for example. And when they do pay, okay, it will show that the fact it's been paid, and it'll also generate a receipt for the client, which will be coming up on screen now. Okay, so obviously you have your practice details at the top, and it says there what payment received and the fact that it's been the excess that's been paid on the policy. Okay, so when you're then generating your insurance invoices, what you do, you go onto the insurance page. You can see that there's a note on that line as well to show that the insurance excess has been paid. And you've got a number of options here. So one of the things you're probably going to do now is you're going to print the invoice. Now, also bear in mind that Teleos is fully integrated with the VetXML services. So for all the companies that are signed up to that, we can produce insurance claims directly. So this is really for only ones where you've got to send the claim direct to the insurance company, because they don't participate in the VetXML scheme. So what I can do here is I can do print, and what I want to do is print the invoice. So I click on print invoice, click on OK there. So this is now saying this is the work this animal's had done. So you select the animal, it's ticked all the boxes there. And what I want to now do is go and produce an invoice. So I'm going to, you might do this in a batch, or I can do it as a one-off. So I'm doing it as a one-off here. So I do run there. Okay, and it's processing client 1 of 1. It's created the invoice, so we'll see a copy of that come up in a sec. So this is what will go off to the insurance company. Okay, so we can close that. It's showing the fact there's insurance invoice there. At any time, if you right mouse click over it, you can edit it, you can compose an email, so you can actually email it to the insurance company from here, or you can print it off. Okay, now when the insurance company pays you, what you do is you come into this tab, you do take payment, you select Luna. Okay, so it's showing the fact we've had the insurance excess on there, so it knows it's 183.67 is outstanding, and they would probably pay you by BACS. So you've got a BACS transfer there, and again you can do a receipt if you want to. Okay, what we do there is we do pay, and as you can see there, the balance is 0, and you can see the allocation line here shows that all these lines have been paid. So when you get a payment on the system, if you click on the payment line, it will then tell you what lines that payment was allocated to. So if they're in yellow like this, it means that payment fully paid off those transactions. If you get an orange line in there, it says it part paid it. Okay, so if someone's thrown some money at an account, but the balance isn't cleared, then you'll part pay one of those. So that's how that works. And if you go over the allocated column and you click the left mouse button, it'll tell you there how that was paid. So you can see their payment received by BACS at 10.25. So all of those lines are all going to have that same information. Okay, so that's how the insurance element of it works. If you have any queries, do get in touch.